With Frank
No, I
Darabont.
haven't
Should
actually.
watch
No,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where they're all trapped in the store.
Yeah. And all these,
Yep.
it's actually I think it was the inspiration for Half-Life, the game,
Oh, nice. Yep.
because all these interdimensional creatures start coming out of the mist.
Yes. I know. I feel like I know a bunch about it. Like the fact that Melissa McBride's in it, and
Jeffrey
the guy
DeMunn.
who played. Yep.
Yep.
But I haven't watched it.
Who else? There's one other one. I think it was Laurie Holden.
Laurie Holden. Yeah.
She's like one of the main ones. The Zed storm, what I'm calling the funeral home. I thought that was a pretty thrilling sequence too. Daryl just barely escaping and fighting them off.
And using the environment to his advantage, like putting something between him.
Yeah, that was cool. But the moment that stood out to me in this episode, as I said earlier, the most is when he runs outside and finds her stuff and sees that car driving away. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Poor Daryl.
And you sit there just thinking about it for another half of a season. Like, where the hell is Beth? I think I remember back when this was airing that there was some speculation that maybe that was Father Gabriel because there was a cross on the back and they were just leaving what felt like it could have been a church. And at the time I hadn't read the comic, so I was like, oh man, this Father Gabriel must be like a real monster, huh?
He turned out to be kind of at first.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's all I had for that. Do you have any more points?
Well, in that, I would say Sasha was the MVP fighter of this episode. She like saves Bob and Maggie a few times, which is surprising because Maggie now seems like a unstoppable force. Like, one of the things I like about this episode is retrospectively looking at their survival activities versus how good they kind of have it later. Like at this point, they're not great at fighting zombies. Like 3 or 4 seems like it's still kind of overwhelming for them. Whereas I feel like now you could put Maggie in those woods and she would just kill every walker as she's just like walking and chatting.
Right.
But I like that they're like setting up cans as on string as walker detectors still, and like they're counting their bullets, which they kind of stop doing as time goes on, and they're sleeping under tarps. And like you said, Daryl is teaching Beth to do some tracking, and she pretty soon won't need him anymore, and they're scavenging for food. The diet soda and canned pig's feet, which is a white trash feast, like Daryl says, which
and then he claims the pig's feet.
Yeah, you're like, Daryl's eating good. He's not scavenging food. He's doing better than he was doing, probably. Yeah. But yeah, I love how, like, compared to now, like, they're so well adapted to, like, dealing with the zombies. Whereas back then, just seeing, like, how hard they were having it, just surviving. And it's an interesting juxtaposition.
That's the thing. Over time, they have to try to up the excitement factor by having more zombies, but also all the people who are alive have gotten better. And so then the thrill goes away, you know?
Right.
That's why I like the fast zombie movies a little better, because it just seems scarier.
I think that's why everybody has trouble liking them, because it's harder to picture yourself surviving in them for very long. I think those are all my major points.
I just had a note to talk about Glenn, who sees the Terminus sign at the end. And it's like, it's all coming together. Just like, I mean, I remember at the time being a little bit skeptical, like, okay, all of a sudden, just when everybody needs it to be true, there's these signs up and all the characters are seeing them, but you just have to let that go.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
That's also some of the symmetry of the episode too, is at the beginning we see Glenn and he gets out and he finds Bob, and then at the end we see Glenn. He's sort of like the bookends. He's noticing that.
And but last we saw him, he was with Tara, Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita. So what's up with that? He seemed like he was alone. Were they just like right off screen, or?
Yeah, maybe. Because he at some point runs ahead away from them. But yeah, you're right. The last time, weren't they fighting?
I think he said he's gonna go finds Maggie, and Tara and Rosita's like, I'm going with him. Mm-hmm. And Abraham's like, what? All right, God.
Yeah.
And that was it, from what I remember.
Then he immediately finds the sign, even though they drove 3 hours.
right.
I think there's some dilation of time happening.
Okay. Any notes?
Yes. Is this the start of everybody saying Daryl needs a dog? Because a dog comes up to the door and he almost gets him.
Oh, yeah. I like that with Beth, too. He's like, I told you to stay back. And she's like, but you said there was a dog.
Yeah. Like, why would I stay back? Yeah. I also like that. I think he grabs a pig's foot when he goes out the second time. He's going to try and bring the dog in. So he is very much like, yeah, let's settle down. We'll have like a dog, 2.5 kids. We'll have a funeral director who comes back from time to time. Everyone in this episode is easily snuck up on, which I feel like I currently am hypervigilant. Nobody sneaks up on me in a grocery store. I just imagine the Claimers kind of snuck up on Daryl. Granted, he's pretty tired and exhausted, but Maggie and Sasha also kind of sneak up on Bob on the tracks. It's like, you have railroad tracks. If you just looked over your shoulder once, you'd see them. But again, they're tired and malnourished. I think that's it. The only other thing is I thought it was funny when Daryl went to pick up Beth for a piggyback ride, and she's like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, it's a serious piggyback.
Yeah, there's some fun lines in this one.
Yeah.
I was wondering, if you were Daryl and you saw an open casket, would you go over and scrape the guy's face with your fingernails?
Oh, God, no.
Why? Why would you do that? Why did you do that?
I think maybe just to like illustrate, yeah, there's makeup on here. Maybe he doesn't realize. I don't know. Yeah.
That was just really weird.
Yeah. I also don't know if I would lay down in a coffin just with the fear that it might shut on me.
I like that, though. It was fun.
Yeah.
And of course, I couldn't help but think of the whole bad lip reading thing. A couple moments when Bob says to Sasha, World War II ended. I mean, excuse me, sir. Beth is on the piano singing, Mr. Potato Head likes to punch me. And then when Daryl opens the door and all the Zeds are there, they'd been talking about a pet turtle or something named Anthony.
Yeah, you squish him a turtle.
And he just looks over at Beth and goes, help Anthony, he's in the bath. Go get him, dry him off. And she goes, ew, nuh-uh. And he goes, he's afraid. Which is awesome. Those are so
they've
good.
Ruined the rewatch for everyone.
Enhanced, I would say. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Only on The Walking Dead would you kill a zombie and rip into its guts to make a sign written in blood rather than like getting some berries or something.
Or finding a marker. I guess only in The Walking Dead would canned pig's feet seem like an exciting meal to anybody.
In The Walking Dead or in the South.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should say that. Because when I was a kid, my stepdad, his mom, who was from Oklahoma, would have these Sunday brunches where she'd make peach cobbler and chicken and dumplings and pickled pig's feet, and I really liked the peach cobbler and the chicken and dumplings.
Yeah. One of my adopted father was from the South, and he would make ham hock, which I think is pig's feet, but he'd cook them and it smelled awful. I was never interested.
Okay, not our thing. Listeners, let us know if we're misguided there.
Maybe we're cooking them wrong. Brains.
Okay, you want to go first?
Sure. Carly Jackson says, whenever I think of the great music on this show, I think of this episode and Bob walking alone in the cold open. Yeah, me too. This chunk of The Walking Dead has such great music that I keep coming back to.
Yep. Yeah, they started using pop songs, but not well-known ones, and I ended up putting a lot of them in my playlists and putting them into episodes, which I then had to take down. Oh, well. Michelle Jones says, yay, I've missed the rewatch episodes from you all. These episodes in season 4 are some of my favorites. Well, good, Michelle. I'm glad you're back. I think Michelle's been listening for a long time, so good.
Matt King says, I think I watched this a few months back thinking you would cover it the following week. Then Last of Us took over. Just watched it again now. Nice to see Bob's origin story and Beth with Daryl again. Terminus now on the horizon, yet another false dawn in this show.
Yeah.
Yes.
You didn't, are you still behind on The Last of Us? You haven't watched it yet, right?
Season 2? I am still behind. I'm 2 episodes in. Okay. I'm trying.
I want to know what you think once it's over, because there were a lot of mixed opinions on this season.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send in a random listener call in for just a random show and go off about Last of Us.
Yeah, good. Do it. Okay. Josie Bowen-Echtel says, hey, Jason and Lucy, so excited to be back to the rewatch. Since we paused, I had a baby and watched so much TV on maternity leave.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations, Josie. Yeah, how's it going? I started and finished Last of Us and went through Dead City as well, but it's exciting to be back to my most favorite. Beth and Daryl break my heart. I always viewed them as more of a sibling relationship, but this episode definitely feels a bit turned up with the lingering glances and whatnot. Either way, I love watching the two of them together on the screen. The grumpy/sunshine trope really works for me. Me too. It pisses me off that he just opened the door for all those walkers. Daryl would have heard that shit and gotten into defense mode, whether he was distracted by Beth's smile or not. I'm heartbroken for Daryl in this episode, and I hate that Beth gets taken. Such a damn shame for her entire arc, and her ending sucks. Definitely one of the harder deaths for me. Not much to say on the Bob, Sasha, Maggie of it all, other than I'm just loving seeing them on my screen again. It's nice not to see Maggie on my screen and just be annoyed with her. If you watch Dead City, then you know. I roll. I'm so happy y'all are back. Bye.
Yeah, I do like that Maggie has moments of happiness in this. So yeah, that feels very refreshing, as obviously for good reason. As the series goes on, she is less and less happy.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that when Dead City comes back around that they'll look at what's been working and what hasn't and make some changes.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I want to like that show, and I did like some bits of it, but overall I'm feeling like it needs some help.
Yeah. I also agree with Daryl opening that door, but I did notice on my second watch through that all of the windows on the door are already blocked up. So he couldn't visually see what was out there, but I agree. He probably should have thought about it and listened.
I mean, how exciting would it be if he's like, oh, there's a bunch of zombies out there, never mind. And then they just sit in there and wait for them to go away and go on with
exciting.
Their day.
Like if they did a real time 24-hour style of them just sitting quietly. Waiting.
Or, go outside and throw a rock over in the bushes and attract them over there or something smart like that. It was awesome that he opened the door and they were all there. I loved it, even though Daryl wouldn't do that. It was because I loved how they set it up by him being excited about the dog, and then you open it up and it's like 40 zombies.
Right.
That was really fun. Okay, here's a call from Steve Brown.
Ooh, Steve Brown.
Hello, Walking Dead cast. This is Steve, and you're back. We're back to the rewatch of The Walking Dead proper. This is season 4, episode 13, Alone. I hope I'm on the right episode, because this starts out with Bob all by himself. He is alone, so... Oh, no, this is before. Oh, yeah, because it's Glenn and Daryl using the 3 questions to when they first met Bob.
Oh, right.
Now we're caught up to present day, I'm assuming, with Sasha, Maggie, and Bob in the fog. Tense. Daryl teaching Beth how to track. Soon I won't need you at all. Yeah, no, you will, Beth, really. Ooh, that's quite a line. I don't think the good ones survive. Ooh. Oh, and Bob, Sasha, and Maggie have found the first sign to Terminus, or a sign to Terminus. Ooh, a place where someone's been tending to. That's not necessarily a good thing. Ooh, and a funeral home at that. Yeah, beautiful or creepy. I'm not sure which, Beth. Daryl. Oh, gonna leave some behind. Just somebody left it there, obviously, for a stash. Yeah, good job. A coffin is the comfiest bed Daryl's had in years. Yep. Ooh, Maggie left a note. Don't follow her. Good luck. Okay, Bob said I'm not alone. So, I mean, he still said alone, so that's the title of the episode. Mic drop. And they find Maggie's note to Glenn in blood. So what was the point of the dog? Okay, so Daryl's going to try to convince Beth to stay here instead of going looking for their friends. Oh, a whole bunch of walkers at the door. There's no staying here now. Oh, that was quick. Daryl fought his way out and grabbed an arrow on the way back. Ooh, and there's Beth's bag and a car screeching away. And he just said alone again. Title of the episode, mic drop. Sasha wants to stop and, Bob doesn't. Hey, he said alone again. I'm not going to, it's too much alone. Bob getting a little frisky there. Okay, so after that little moment, Bob heads on down the tracks and Sasha goes into the building by herself. Oh, and Sasha just found Maggie and woke up a bunch of walkers. Okay, they made short work of them, and now they got to go look for Bob. Only Lauren Cohan could look that cute, covered in blood, asking for help. Oh, and Daryl gets found by another group. Ooh, Joe and the Claimers. Yep, right there, Daryl should have known that this guy is not a good guy. Why hurt yourself when you can hurt other people? Of course, probably Daryl knows that. All right, on the road to Terminus. And there's that last shot of Glenn.
Excited to be on the road to Terminus.
Yeah. Yeah, I love in that final fight with Sasha and Maggie that Maggie's using a street sign as her weapon.
It's cool.
Thanks, Steve. Deborah Ulmer says, "Hi, Jason and Lucy. Bob really shined in this episode. It's really cool that we get a flashback of how our group found him. He was lone and had already lost 2 groups, but he was willing to try with another one. By the way, I have the song that plays at the beginning and the end of this episode on my Spotify playlist, along with some other songs from different seasons of the show. I found out about how to get them through an old Walking Dead forum that linked me to a website that lists all the songs on the soundtrack per each season and episode. Anyhow, Bob and Sasha's budding romance is really cute to see unfold. It's something different from a couple that we haven't really seen up until now on the show. Bob doesn't even let Sasha fighting against Maggie's plan detour him from trying to get through to her. Next, in our other story, we get to see a close to perfect for the ZA day happen with Daryl and Beth. Bethel and Beryl and Death. Then it gets taken away and they get separated. Daryl is still broken in the morning in the same spot, looking really sad and lost as Claimers find him. Also, notice how in the previous, this, and the next episode, the groups that find houses say they're gonna settle in them, but immediately after, their plans get totally destroyed. Y'all take care.
It's interesting, yeah. Rick and Michonne and Beth and Daryl.
The Grove. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Carol and Tyrese.
Yep.
Yeah, what does that say? Because they wanted to figure out with all these episodes, what are we going to do with everyone scattered and flirt? I guess they all flirt with the idea of just staying apart, but then there's this driving force bringing them all together to Terminus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I really loved this whole segment, and I know a lot of people were anxious for everyone to get back together, but I knew from reading the comics that once they got to Alexandria, they were just going to be there for the rest of the story, pretty much. And I thought, let's have something a little bit different for a little while first before we settle into that.
Yep. And it lets you get to have slightly different little stories.
Yeah, little vignettes.
Yeah. Yep.
Billy Thompson says, hello. I hope you guys are well. Damn, I've missed this rewatch. I'm so happy. We're back, baby. Let's get into this. Was I the only one that was thinking, why the hell is Bob alone? I had no idea that this was a flashback to before. Yep, I was right there with you. The scene after the opening credits reminds me a lot of the Jesus death scene in season 9 with all the fog. Oh yeah, with the whispers.
Yep.
Right. Pig's feet. Is this an American thing? I guess. I mean, it is an American thing. I don't know if it's not a European thing.
Yeah,
apparently not.
Pigs have feet all over the country.
Yeah,
all over
pigs,
the world.
People, no, I think it's just in the States.
Oh,
actually.
just in the U.S.
They're
pigs have feet.
Footless elsewhere.
Okay. You learn something new every day.
Because it's certainly not a thing here in Britain. It sounds disgusting, but I'd give it a go.
Oh, no.
Try anything once. Oh, of course, the infamous scene with Daryl running on the road, but he doesn't seem to get any closer. I never noticed this first time around, but now I can't unsee it. I enjoyed Mr. Stuckey this episode. I really do think he's one of the best characters in The Walking Dead over this short period on the show. Seems very authentic, and I love his optimism. Albeit, I'd probably be more like Sasha when the ZA eventually comes, and Bob would probably end up annoying the shit out of me. What a great episode to restart the rewatch with. I'm honestly so happy we're back. I really missed you guys these few weeks from the end of The Last of Us till now. Haven't felt the same. I did try to keep up with Dead City season coverage, but I really struggled with this season. Felt like one big mess, unfortunately. Anyway, we back, and thank you. Bye. Yeah, I feel the same about a lot of that, Billy.
Yeah.
Glad to be back doing this.
Also sounds like I will annoy the hell out of you in the ZA, Billy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. One of the things that did get mentioned is Bob's 3 questions. And his answer that I don't think we ever get more on is, have you killed anyone? And he says, one person. And they say, why? And he says, because she asked me to.
Yeah.
And we never find out more about that.
Yeah, I mean, you could have it be the most boring answer that someone got bitten and asked to be shot.
Yep.
But it would be less boring and more curious if they weren't bitten.
Yeah. They were at like one of the amusement parks at that slingshot ride, and they were like, please let me do it. And he's like, I don't think the safeties work on this. And he just launched somebody into the air.
She asked me to. So.
Yeah. Laura Willie Swink says, it's been a long time since I've seen this episode, but I do remember loving it and finding it one of the highlights of my favorite season. I also remember it being pretty divisive between the Daryl and Bethel shipping camps. Wow, that seems like ages ago.
Over 10 years.
Yeah, jeez. Personally, I loved the whole side quest Daryl and Beth take to the graveyard/mortuary. It was so throwback, gothic zombie horror. And all the weirdness of that place, like the funeral cosmetology, yes, I looked up that phrase, on the zombies, and the serial killer-like OCD stocked cabinets of food. It was giving me all the traditional horror movie feels. Yeah, if I were Daryl, I would have definitely slept in that coffin. I loved the growth of Beth's character and the stronger feelings developing between her and Daryl. I wouldn't say they grew a physical attraction to each other, but there were unmistakably some strong romantic hints dropped in the episode. I saw it more as a coming together and finding connection with another. The way that Daryl listened to Beth sing and maybe finally allowing himself to embrace his feelings. And Beth sharing peanut butter and jelly and talking to Daryl like he mattered and was a good person. Honestly, I don't remember much about Maggie, Sasha, and Bob's storyline because I was too invested in Daryl and Beth's, but I do fondly remember the bad lip reading spoofs. I also remember this episode and the previous episodes still, and the next several episodes leading up to Terminus being some of the absolute best and most memorable episodes of the entire series. One major criticism of this episode, though, over a dozen zombies shuffling onto the front porch of the mortuary and they didn't make one sound. Ugh, another attack of ninja zombies.
They didn't really focus on it, but they all had fuzzy slippers on, so it was like pretty quiet.
Yep. And Daryl, they were like in a whole nother room. You know how sound travels.
Thanks, Laura. Brett says, hey guys, this is Brett. It's been a little while. But saw you guys were doing a rewatch over Still, and listening to that made me want to write my thoughts over Alone in this post-prison arc with Beth. Beth is my favorite character. This arc really pushed her to lengths I never thought she would go. My favorite time in the show is season 4, episode 8 to season 5, episode 8. What a run of episodes. I think it's mine too. It's a gigantic puzzle that starts after the loss of Herschel in the prison and is put back together with Beth's death. Beth is a standout by far to me. I really want to look at what is the last scene with Daryl and Beth. Quote, what changed your mind? As he stares at her and she realizes and says, oh, so much ambiguity and left for audience interpretation. Did Daryl fall in love with Beth? I don't think it was a romantic love, but he did see the light in her that he never had in his life. He felt safe. Norman Reedus said that if Daryl did fall in love with Beth, then he didn't understand what those feelings were. Who, Norman or Daryl?
Yeah,
both. When she was taken, he ran all night trying to get her back. Who knows what Daryl and Beth's relationship would have grown into if she survived, but I do think they would have a much deeper bond. If Beth made it to Alexandria, Daryl would have been a completely different person. The loss of Beth hit him hard. A part of him died along with her. I'll also never forget the months of waiting to find out what happened to Beth. It's so cool looking back at it. I was super excited. Rick's quote about Beth in the season 4 finale, "There's a new sheriff in town." Why is that about Beth? Anyway, and boy did Beth bring it at Grady. She isn't the same character from season 2. She's a survivor who made it and is not just another dead girl. The loss of Beth is devastating. It changed how I watched the show, but I think she had a terrific death. She went out strong. And I love Coda, that's her death episode, because of that. Coda is my favorite. Can't wait to see how you guys deep dive into the Grady Hospital arc. It's underrated. Well, that was a pleasure to read, Brett. Very well written. And yeah, like I said, it has me hopeful that I'll appreciate those episodes more once we get to it.
Yeah, for sure. Dina says, Alone continues the Daryl Beth story from Still, so it's my guest host's self-appointed duty to close that loop. In her feedback, the esteemed Laura did a fabulous job of laying out all the romance tropes into which Daryl and Beth easily slip. My own thoughts, left untamed, glide there as well. Nothing better than the roller coaster that is courtship. I just don't let myself go there with these two, despite the chemistry. But if there is something here, it's one-sided on Daryl's part. Beth shows no special treatment towards him. She's always been kind to everyone. She senses what people need, a peck on the cheek for Rick, a hug for Daryl after Zach died, shoving Judith into Michonne's arms, firmly telling Maggie to do her job, scolding Carl for Lori, being Noah's backbone, and so on. So I don't think she's in love with him. In fact, she looks surprised when she says "oh" to Daryl's mumble and long, meaningful stare, as if she realizes that he may have romantic feelings towards her. Still, I choose to think that her surprised "oh" is just a recognition that she had an impact on the impenetrable Daryl. Ultimately, Daryl is probably not feeling amorous, just awkwardly expressing gratitude to her. She helped him begin to shed his past and see the future differently. He's able to hold her hand in shared grief, properly set a table for a civilized meal of jam, pig's feet, and diet soda, see beauty in rotting corpses, and enjoy doing nothing but lie in a coffin and listen to a girl sing. This all sets the stage to allow him to mentor Lydia, share a meal with Michonne and her kids around a table, and be more open to real connection with his peers, even Eugene. Very well put. Still, part 2, over and out. On to the main theme. At the start, Bob tags along with Daryl and Glenn because why not? He's fine by himself and he's fine in a group. It doesn't matter what group. Not true, says this mom. Going it alone is fruitless, and the right group absolutely matters. Bob's time with the prison group frees Bob Stookie. He's now who he is meant to be, and I want to hang with that guy. He's quirky, caring, humble, humorous, and self-assured. Bob doesn't want Maggie to be alone, and in leaving Sasha, proves to her that she shouldn't go it alone. He gives her the space to blossom into who she's meant to be, but geez, Sasha. Abraham is the end result. Agreed. I don't see it, but...
Yeah, I know. That never clicked with me.
Especially seeing her with Bob in this episode, you're like, yeah, they have chemistry.
Renee hates it too, to the point where she asked to come on that episode. I think she's just going to, tell Sasha what she thinks of her.
Awesome. Maggie, for her part, has always found strength in a loving group and knows her open capabilities, so she's smart enough to know when to seek help. Love and faith that all will be well is such a lovely end to the trio's part in this episode. Poor, deliciously sweaty Daryl. His newfound hope is being tested, as well as his heart. How can he not be dead of a heart attack? I can't run like that for more than 5 minutes, let alone all night and day. The showrunners really should have ended this episode with down faces alone. Every time I see the episode, which is often, that song plays in my head, a post-grunge, almost lyrically perfect summation describing Daryl's defeat. The girl is gone, the light and hope is dying, and it ends with, I've done my time and I never want to spend my life alone. Daryl is no longer on his own, but he's with the wrong group and very much alone. Very well put, Dina.
Yeah, I never actually considered that. Maybe I always thought, okay, Beth clearly has a crush on Daryl, but Daryl probably doesn't on her. And then this episode maybe doubt that. But what you're saying is maybe Daryl's the one who may or may not have a crush, but Beth is just treating him the same way she treats everyone. And I think there could be something to that. That's interesting. She does give him some goo eyes in this episode, like when he's carrying her around and stuff. So I think it's ambiguous at best, but you might have something there, which I love. Okay. Amber Lovo says, hello, the cast of us. This is Amber writing in for The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 13, Alone. First off, this message will be long, so please feel free to cut out parts of it. That's it.
Wow, that was the whole message. Weird.
Just kidding. Ha, very funny, right? I'm new to The Walking Dead rewatch. I discovered Podcastica early this year when The Last of Us Season 2 was coming out. I jumped in for that and the final season of The Handmaid's Tale. It's been lovely to be included into the pod. Every time I hear my name mentioned, I get really excited and very nervous.
Yeah, I've been there, Amber.
I watched The Walking Dead when it originally aired until around season 4 or 5 when Beth died. She was one of my favorite characters. Also, at that time this aired, I had a new baby, and I split from my partner who was the Walking Dead fan. I've been spoiled on many of the big events as they happened ages ago. After getting into the Podcastica world, I decided to join in on the rewatch. I guess you kind of finally felt like you were ready to watch that show and not have to think of your former partner. Yeah, it's tough when you split up and things remind you of them. But I'm glad you're back, Amber. I have some notes on previous stuff that I want to mention first. First, have you heard about revenge addiction? Dr. James Kimmel Jr. has a lot of interesting theories about our/humans addiction with revenge and rage. I've heard something about that. I think this might explain some of Rick's and other people's actions throughout the seasons. In the few episodes prior to Alone, I love watching the relationship between Beth and Daryl. I know a lot of people didn't like Beth because she was a teenage girl who acted like a teenage girl. I think people saw her as whiny and annoying. Did I think a little bit at times, but for the most part, I liked her. Fine. Yeah. Not every person needs to be a warrior. Yes, totally. It's okay for some people to be softer or even more optimistic. I mean, I would even say necessary, honestly. I think she was a valuable member of the group, even though she wasn't a fighter. She took on a mothering role with Judith, which was needed, and seemed to be good at doing some of the homemaker duties. I never shipped Beth and Daryl. They reminded me of a niece and an uncle that never wanted kids who were thrown together when tragedy strikes. They were my favorite unlikely duo. I loved how she made him look at things another way and started to thaw out his cold heart. Daryl had built up a lot of walls and defenses around himself because I think he's scared of letting people in. When Beth said, "You just look at me and you see another dead girl," I think she was really hitting the point that Daryl expects everyone to die and isn't willing to allow himself to get hurt by getting attached. Yeah, absolutely. Daryl was my other favorite character. I loved him from the beginning. I really identify with a hyper-independent, damaged human who's been neglected from childhood and forced to grow up without a lot of support. Oh, I'm sorry you have to identify with that. I do some of that too. The abusive dad and dominating bully of a big sibling was my childhood. The way he took on the role of protector while trying to hold everyone at arm's length made me fall for him. And those arms, come on. Alone starts and ends with the Blackbird song by Lee DeWise, and it's a perfect song for this episode. Shout out to The Walking Dead for all the amazing music. I love seeing Bob's past experiences and how he was found by our group. I love that they waited a while to show us what happened to him before and all his losses. Sobriety has made him hyper optimistic, which is super common in addicts. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. When Daryl and Beth are in the house and going through all the cupboards and Daryl says to take some but leave the rest, I think it showed a bit of his personal growth. Caring enough to leave some behind didn't seem like something that he would have done in the past Was Beth's influence rubbing off on him? I thought that too, but then I'm like, oh, but they're still hanging out and taking more and more.
Right. he's just taking his
just take
time
a little
at
more.
taking it all.
Yeah. My heart broke when he was chasing after Beth and realized he couldn't track her anymore. I think he truly loved her, again, like a niece. And I think as much as he pretended to hate it, he loved her more innocent outlook on life. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of contrast in personalities like Sasha and Bob and Daryl and Beth.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's it for this episode. Bob and Sasha's interactions were very fascinating. I loved when Bob kissed her, but still leaves to find Maggie. Me too. I was annoyed that Maggie was more obsessed with finding Glenn than finding Beth at this point. I did love Maggie and Glenn's relationship, but it's your baby sister. Come on. I think it's because she kind of has an idea of where Glenn might be, but I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like there's something where maybe Lauren Cohan said Maggie assumes she's dead and doesn't want to like think about it or something like that.
I was really happy when Sasha found Maggie and they reunited with Bob again. They're a sweet little trio. I'm excited to join the rest of the rewatch with y'all. I only vaguely remember what happens from here on out. Thanks for keeping up with this and making this amazing community. I love how inclusive everyone is. P.S. Sorry this is so long. I had pages and pages of notes, and I swear I tried to condense it down to highlights. I wish I would have gotten in earlier. Keep up the excellent work. Cheers. Well, I enjoyed it. Thanks, Amber.
Yeah, thanks, Amber. And I understand. I also usually have pages and pages, and I'm like, I just got to pick like the first 100 of these things to say. All right. Rachel Teal Edwards says, Part 2, Alone. Musings of an eternally gutted Bethel shipper. Finally, we have arrived at my other most beloved episode of The Walking Dead. Forgive me and buckle in for my second and final, epically long bit of feedback. I'm going to start by addressing the haters. Let's get this out of the way. If you think Beth and Daryl have a brother-sister vibe in this episode, that's fine. You clearly have a very different relationship with your sibling than I do. Or perhaps you don't have a sibling of the opposite sex. Maybe you think they just have a friendship vibe, which is fine too. We don't have to agree. But you're all wrong. The energy flowing between Beth and Daryl, or perhaps more noticeably from Daryl to Beth, is so clearly genuine romantic love. I can't comprehend how anyone reads it as anything else. And no, I'm not focusing on any sort of sexual energy because it's obviously not there. It's actually so much more than that. In this episode, we get a delightful glimpse of the beginnings of a beautiful love story, only for it to be immediately and forever ripped away from us. There is so much Bethel fanfiction for this reason. We shippers will always wonder, what if Beth hadn't died? What could have developed between them if given the chance? In a way, it's kind of cool that their story was left so heartbreakingly open-ended because it gives fans with creative minds a great outlet for any possible ending they could imagine. But in all other ways, it's very uncool and the absolute worst. Let's get to it. The tone has shifted between Daryl and Beth, and we notice it immediately in this episode. They're calm, and there's a playful banter between them. The mood is light. Daryl has continued to teach Beth survival skills. He even allows her to practice using his crossbow. Let's take a moment right off the bat to acknowledge that this is kind of a big deal. Imagine how Daryl would have to feel about you to allow you to touch his crossbow and to spend the time teaching you how to use it. Imagine the intimacy involved in these lessons. Daryl standing behind and beside you, gently but firmly correcting your form, face right next to yours, speaking softly in your ears as you take aim. Come on, can I get a lesson? Suddenly, Beth is injured, and we see an unexpectedly light and caring side of Daryl. He offers a serious piggyback and teases her. Then we have a moment of shared grief, understanding, and connection, which brings me to the first point, Exhibit A. And here we have a screenshot of Daryl and Beth holding hands.
This whole thing about how if you're going to teach someone how to use a crossbow, then it's clearly a love connection has me thinking about Daryl teaching Laurent in a whole different way.
Oh, no.
I think it's not appropriate at all.
Yeah. Yep.
No, just kidding.
You did this, Rachel, not us. You did
Rachel,
this.
yeah, it's your fault. No, I mean, except for the part where all other opinions are wrong, I'm actually agreeing with everything you're saying, Rachel. There. Okay, I'm going to continue on. No one holds hands like this except lovers. If you were having a quiet, reflective moment with a friend, a sibling, or parent, you would never hold hands this way. This is reserved for a romantic love alone. I'm not saying they hold hands like this because they were aware of any such energy at this moment. I'm just saying this is the first indicator we see. The scene starts playfully with an adorable piggyback ride and ends with this intimate moment between them. They enter the funeral home and find that someone was likely living here recently and continuing to care for the dead as they did before. Daryl finds this weird. Beth thinks it's beautiful. The director did everything he could in every scene to highlight Beth's own beauty, her light, her innocence, optimism, and hope, and her ability to find good in this dark world. And each time, Daryl sees her and appreciates her for all these reasons. They find the kitchen clean and well-stocked. Daryl suggests they take some of the food and leave the rest. As I said in part 1 of my thesis, is this from when she wrote in before? I hope so, and that I didn't miss anything. What Daryl teaches Beth are obvious, tangible survival skills. What Beth teaches Daryl is subtle, but even more powerful. Like Dina said, Beth demonstrates a high level of emotional intelligence, and she opens up the world for him. Daryl is showing her, whether purposefully or not, that he is beginning to understand and that because of her, he's changing and growing. Yeah, I agree with all this. In the evening, except I think they could hold hands like that and not necessarily be lovers, but otherwise I agree.
I don't know. I'm looking at this picture right now, Jason.
I mean, they're naked.
Raunchy.
So, yeah. In the evening, Beth is playing the piano and Daryl watches and listens from the doorway, noticing and appreciating how beautiful and pure she is as she sings. He realizes what he's doing and clears his throat, alerting her of his presence. Then he decides to make himself more comfortable in the casket and tells her to keep playing because, quote, there ain't no jukebox. Right. He continues to gaze at her for a moment as she plays, maybe just appreciating her sweet voice, possibly contemplating what their future holds or trying to understand what this girl is doing to him. Piggyback rides, leave food for the people who live there. Who have I become? What am I doing? As an important aside, the song Beth is playing is called Be Good, originally by Waxahachie and covered by Emily Kinney on her album Expired Love. It's so damn good on its own, but the lyrics are even better in the context of Daryl and Beth. Take this excerpt, for example. Now I've got friendship to mend and I'm selfishly dispossessed. You don't want to be my boyfriend, and that's probably for the best because that gets messy. And you will hurt me or I'll disappear. So we'll drink beer all day and our guards will give way and we'll be good. Exhibit B is a link to that song, Emily Kinney's version, which I will try to remember to include in the show notes because it's a lovely song and I think you should listen to it.
Yep, and you don't want it getting taken down. Now, the breakfast scene. Before we see them, you can hear Beth say, I'm going as fast as I can. And Daryl responds, forget that. And then we can see him carrying her into the kitchen. This indicates that he did not have to literally sweep her off her feet and carry her, but he chose to do so. For funsies? To be so helpful? This is so flirty, I honestly don't understand how people see it any other way. And he has set the table for them with this gorgeous white trash brunch of pig's feet, peanut butter, and Coke. This is so sweet and thoughtful. He's so excited to present this meal to her, and she is literally giggly as he carries her, bridal carry, by the way. Exhibit C. Look at that cheese. And what we're seeing is a photo of Daryl carrying Beth in his arms. She's got her arms wrapped around his neck, and they're looking at 2 liters of cola and some pig's feet.
And she has a big smile on her face.
Yep. And they're naked again. This is weird. I feel like
I didn't remember that.
Huh.
The AI, what is going on here?
This damn dog, honestly, guys, this dog is indirectly the reason everything soon goes to shit and they get separated. I can't stand this adorable dog. Finally, the dinner scene. Beth is soaked in candlelight, looking beautiful and demonstrating her goodness by writing a thank you note. Daryl shows her once more just how much she's changed him, suggesting they stick around to see if they can make life work with whoever lives here. Then they have the most intimate moment of all. Beth, in her innocence, wants to know what changed Daryl. Daryl, caught off guard by the question, a little uncomfortable or embarrassed, and then deep in his feelings, admiration and adoration of this angel in front of him, can't bring himself to say the words, "You did. You've changed me." Hell, maybe he didn't even realize it until this moment, but he pauses and looks at her with a look that conveys 1,000 words, and she finally understands. Oh. There's nothing but pure love in this scene. Daryl is just as innocent as Beth is, in his own way. We all know he hasn't been in love, hasn't chased girls, or had much sex, if any. His feelings for her surprise and befuddle him. His love is pure, untainted by lust, because that's not how his brain works. And what is true love? It's not simply attraction. It's, I want to take care of you. I want to protect you. I can be myself around you. You make me a better person. You challenge me. You've seen me at my best and at my worst, and you stick around. I can trust you. You've changed me. And yes, my God, you're beautiful. Everything that Daryl is thinking and feeling in this moment. His heart is so full, and then in an instant, it's all taken from him. We can feel his terror, his panic, and his absolute desperation as he chases after her, running for miles and miles, hours and hours, until he literally physically can't anymore. I'm telling you, it's the most beautiful love story never told, except in fan fiction, of course.
Where it is told.
Yeah. Thanks for indulging me. So, happy we're back at it. Can't wait to hear your coverage of this entire episode. I almost forgot there's another great storyline. Bye.
That was great, Rachel.
Yeah, I think you may have converted me a little bit too. It's a pretty good argument.
Yeah, she's kind of the same too, more focused on Daryl's feelings towards Beth like Dina was, which is really interesting. I hadn't considered that before, but I think you guys are onto something there.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if it's just because it seems like Beth's supposed to be so young and Daryl's much older. I don't know if that's the barrier, but I don't think they're that different in age.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a lot about how, like, they're saying that Beth is just a sweet person.
Yep.
To pretty much everyone, and Daryl's the one who's being changed here. And I still think you could argue that Beth may have some feelings for Daryl too, but looking at it through these filters of Dina and Rachel, I'm sort of wondering if that's the case or not, but more convinced that there's something going on with Daryl.
Yeah. I think I'll have to read some of these fan fictions and just kind of find out what it is I'm missing.
Obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens.
The people it kills get up and kill.
Are they slow-moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
This is a Walking Deadcast news update.
Okay, a little bit of news. As I mentioned at the top, Daryl Season 3 premieres September 7th, and we also mentioned Dead City has been renewed for Season 3. It wasn't known yet when Alex and Ben finished their coverage, but now we know. They are going to have a new showrunner. So Eli Journay, who was the showrunner for the first 2 seasons, is out, and Seth Hoffman is in. Both those guys, Eli Journay and Seth Hoffman, were writers on The Walking Dead proper. Journay didn't come in until season 10. I think he may have written Negan's nut tapping dialogue in one of the season 10 episodes. And I guess he followed Scott Gimple around for a long time saying, I have some great ideas, and then was allowed to run that show. But Seth Hoffman was a writer much earlier in The Walking Dead during seasons 4, 5, and 6. So he's around right now as we're in the rewatch. And that's during what many would say is peak Walking Dead, which is kind of exciting. Kind of weird is there was no Negan during any of that time. So it'll be really interesting to see how he changed the show. My guess, and this hasn't been said, everybody's just being really nicey in their statements about why this is happening, not really saying why, but thanking Eli Journay and saying they're excited for Seth Hoffman. But my guess is that they recognize that the show isn't as good as it could be, and they wanted to make a change. And I wouldn't be happy. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if JDM has something to do with that, but who knows? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. We'll see.
We'll see. Hopefully it'll be better. Next, if you're a fan of the game Dead by Daylight, which I know a bunch of Zed heads are, in fact, there have been a few in our group who've just been playing that regularly every week for literally years now.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's one of those games where you can be the killer or the survivors, and it's a horror game, so you go around and try to kill all the survivors before they can finish their tasks. But anyway, I'm bringing it up because Rick and Michonne are about to be added to the game.
So cool.
Yeah, so because they put like characters from different horror franchises in there. So Dead by Daylight, Walking Dead, that chapter is now available in the player test build, but the full chapter will release to the public on July 29th. So coming up here soon.
Awesome. Yeah, if you are looking for people who play that, you got to hop into the Patreon group and get on the Discord. And there's always some cool game going on. So if you haven't yet, get in there.
Yeah, if you're into that and you want to do that. Yeah, just what Randy said. Next. So this one's kind of a bummer, at least in my opinion. Some Last of Us news that wasn't out last time we podcasted. Neil Druckmann, who's the creative director of the Last of Us games and co-showrunner of the HBO show, has decided to leave the HBO show.
Yeah, that's so weird.
It didn't totally surprise me because just looking at interviews with Neil Druckmann, you can feel that he's very driven and that he likes to have creative control. And he kind of rose through the ranks at Naughty Dog, the game company that made The Last of Us, and The Last of Us is really his baby. So you can tell if he wants something some way, it's going to happen. And so just looking at the behind the scenes, like the little vignettes that they do at the end of the episode where they have Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann talking, I could tell like Neil Druckmann sometimes would be like, it's great that we can have different interpretations of this because I don't agree with what you're saying about it here, And so, I mean, I think I don't know if there's a lot of acrimony, but he's also developing a new game and so he's a busy guy. He said in a statement, "I've made the difficult decision to step away from my creative involvement in The Last of Us with HBO. With work completed on season 2 and before any meaningful work starts on 3, now is the right time for me to transition my complete focus to Naughty Dog and its future projects, including writing and directing our exciting next game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, along with my responsibilities as studio head and head of creative. Co-creating the show has been a career highlight. It's been an honor to work alongside Craig Mazin to executive produce, direct, and write on the last 2 seasons. I'm deeply thankful for the thoughtful approach and dedication the talented cast and crew took to adapting The Last of Us Part 1 and the continued adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2. P.S. Craig is wrong." No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I could see being like in a creative field, they put out 2 really good seasons or 2 pretty well received seasons, and he could be like, it's going to keep going on without me. I'm kind of redoing the same thing I already did. I'd like to focus on a new project as opposed to it just being something not as nice, but
I mean, it's funny you mentioned redoing things they've already did because they've done so many versions of The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2 at Naughty Dog. But also season 2 had a lot of gamers feeling dissatisfied in ways that it differed from the games.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's part of Neil Druckmann being like, see, told you should have just done it like the game, and being frustrated. I don't know. Maybe you're right. We don't really know, but I guess, I mean, as a Walking Dead fan, we know what it's like when there's creative shakeups. That show had 4 showrunners and they all, I thought, had great peaks, some were more uneven than others, but they were all pretty good. So I'm really hopeful that it'll still be good after this, but I'm a little worried, I got to admit, because I very much admire Neil Druckmann.
Yeah. That's quite a shakeup.
And Hallie Gross, who co-wrote The Last of Us Part 2 and came on as writer on the show this year, and she's got a really like a wit to her and a very unique perspective. She's also leaving too.
Oh,
she's leaving the HBO show. So I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on.
It's feeling like season 2 Walking Dead over here.
The HBO CEO, Casey Bloys, says he's not nervous. He said, "Obviously, it was great to have Neil involved in the beginning, But the whole reason that I wanted to do The Last of Us is after Chernobyl, I said to Craig Mazin, what do you want to do next? And Last of Us was what he wanted to do. That was what was most important to me, Craig's creative excitement about the show. It's fantastic to have Neil involved. A lot of people don't realize Neil has a full-time job creating video games and running Naughty Dog. It's a really big job that he's got. So I understand why he needs to focus on that. But I believe he's given us a good blueprint with the show. And obviously Craig is a pro. So I think we'll be in excellent shape. I'm not worried at all, he said as he was curled up in a fetal position.
Right. Yeah. Remembering the last giant show they had where somebody left them the blueprints and it did not go as well as they'd hoped.
Right. But I mean, at least in this case, it is the story is completely done. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Another bit about The Last of Us, about timing for The Last of Us season 3. HBO CEO Casey Bloys said the series is definitely planned for 2027. Craig is still working it out whether it will be 2 more seasons or 1 more long season. It hasn't been decided yet, and I'm following Craig's lead on that. They keep going back and forth on whether it's going to be 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's unknown. And last little piece of news, this is kind of tangentially related to anything, but I've been saying for, I think, 2 years now that I had a good feeling about both James Gunn's Superman movie and the MCU Fantastic Four movie starring Pedro Pascal. Superman came out. I loved it. Did you see it?
I'm seeing it tomorrow because I keep hearing it's got really good reviews.
Yeah,
but feel free, chat. I don't care. Go for it.
No, I'm not going to give anything away, but I liked it a lot. Guardians of the Galaxy, especially 1 and 3, are my favorite MCU movies, and Superman for me didn't reach that level, but I thought it was really good, and I actually have a even better feeling about Fantastic Four. I think it's going to be even better. I just wanted to put that out there since it's coming out later this week.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. See Pedro go.
I know, right? Pedro, just do everything.
He really knows how to stretch himself.
Oh, I see what you did there.
All right, that is our show, episode 659. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you, Randy. That was fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, I think this might be the first time I've done a Walking Dead cast episode, besides like Dead City.
Well, we did Guardians 3 together.
That's
and
right.
We put it out on this podcast, but
it wasn't Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm so excited to finally be on here.
Yeah, it was great.
Thanks for having me.
On a lot of other stuff. Next episode will be The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 14, The Grove.
Oh, good. One. Something to like pick up everybody's
cheer us up,
emotions. Yeah. If you want to write in or leave us a message about it, you can find all our contact information at podcastica.com.
And while you're there, please check out our other podcasts, like How Are Margaret, Elizabeth, and Angry Adam doing?
Well, the final 3 episodes of season 2 should actually be coming out in the next couple of weeks. I am happy
Welcome
to say.
To the Apocalypse.
Yes, Welcome to the Apocalypse. Our improv zombie apocalyptic show, which Jason has guest starred on as well, and Lucy was also on there. So, if you like those guys, you should come check it out. It's a fun time, and it's got zombies in it. So if you're listening to this show, you must like zombies.
So those are coming out soon?
Yes.
The last 3?
Episodes 8 and 9 are fully edited, and episode 10 is in production, but I want to put them out one every week as opposed to spacing them out. So as soon as 10 is done, those 3 will be out there. So it's a good chance to get caught up on the first half of the season.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah. Recommend it. And then another one I mentioned at the top, my new podcast, Wax Episodic. If you want to get ready and be all ready to hear Karen and I on the Vince Gilligan Show, subscribe to that now, waxepisodic.com or wherever you get podcasts. And you'll also be ready for me, Kara, and Randy for Alien Earth, which comes out just in 3 weeks.